Hey everyone, Julian here. Today we're going to be talking about how to make modern trance music. To go along this video, you can get this full project file, samples, MIDI, presets. The entire template is available at the top of the description on my website. Definitely go grab that. It's a great way to make the best tracks of your life. Link is at the top of the description. Thanks for the support, guys. And let's get started. Alright, so we're at 142 BPM, and we always start with the low end. Okay, so this is all made with synths. We've actually got a synthesized 909 kick. And then the bass. So I always start with the kick, and so for this one what we're doing is it's operator actually making a 909, interesting enough. So we're using a sine wave. There's no FM stuff happening, it's just one sine wave. And we have this envelope where you can see there's like, it's held, and then you have the attack, so it's kind of like you get this longer like punch, and if you bring that down, see it's like a little bit too short. So this really helps you get a fat kick. And then it's also the pitch envelope, so if I turn that off, and the secret to this pitch envelope is it's up pretty high, but it's kind of got like these two tiers. That's how you make these like really punching kicks, because basically this controls the like attack, and then this is gonna make it still have some punch on the downfall. So you can shape it all different ways and get different kicks. And kick synthesizers basically just do this. But yeah, it's this like detailed pitch envelope that makes the kick work. And then the other thing we have here is we got a little bit of a high pass filter with the soft shaper. So here's without it. With it, you can see it gives it that last little bit of like 909, and it also helps it be, it's not so like thumpy. It's just punching more in the mid-range. We've got a little bit of drum bass, only 8%, but it's pretty heavy. And then a little subcut. So then there's the bass line. So this is kind of like the chord progression, right? We're in the key of G sharp minor. We're doing, so it's root, minor third, 6th, 7th. So it's actually like a very poppy chord progression, and I think that's how a lot of these modern trance tracks work. It's actually like almost like radio pop chord progressions, but with the trance sounds. And you'll notice also they're a little bit shorter. They're not like full eighth notes. It gives a better groove, especially with the kick. So for the sound here, it's starting with this standard, right, kind of like trance pluck bass. We've got a saw wave, a square wave, and then a little triangle wave as well, which you can hear really gives it the sub, right? Then we just have a low pass filter with an envelope, a little bit of a subcut, and then we're side chaining this, and then we have this layer. So I notice a lot of times they'll have like that main basic trance groove, the 909, and then the pluck bass. Right, and obviously that's really holding it down, but if you add this extra layer, it really adds a lot of groove. So we're doing this with wavetable. It is a square wave, then another square wave, which is a 5th up. We got a low pass with an envelope, and then a ton of unison, some reverb, and then we're cutting out the lows, because this is really just like sitting on top of this. We don't want them to clash, and then we're side chaining this. And then on the groove, we're just doing a little subcut. I noticed these tracks are pretty cut out in the sub, and I think it makes a lot of room so that it's not muddy. So you want to do that, and then we're converting this all to mono here for the low end. Then we have the drums. So you can hear these are all, it's a nice groove, but they're all pretty much in the high end. See, it sits really well over that kick and the sub. So it starts with the hi-hat and the clap. I like to kind of treat these as one groove, right? So what we're doing is we've got this short little 909 layered with this one. Kind of like a punchy. right? And then we have this clap. So those groove well together, and then you can add a little bit of like, we have these, you can see there's a bit of velocity. And then we have some rave loops. So we got this one. And this one. You can see they both kind of fit together. One's in the highs, one's in the mids. So this one's made, so this was just like this sample. And I just took one quarter note and looped it, and then we're high passing it. And then side chaining it. And then this one is pretty much the same thing, but we're converting it to mono because there was a little bit of like kind of phasing stuff. And yeah, so that's all the drums. And if you start really with that and the low end and get that really grooving like that, all this other stuff comes together a lot easier. So the first thing we got here is a little bit of vocals. So it's this sample. Right, we just took that. There's a bit of delay and reverb. Sidechain. Sidechain on the vocals is very important actually because it keeps the groove together. It fits in a lot better, and then we're high passing it. And then it's also like where you put it. It's like you let all the synths go. And then this comes, instead of just dropping it at the same time as everything else. Then we have this little... This lead, so what's happening here is, again, we're in the key of G sharp minor. So what we're doing is, it's like this call and response. We have root note, or excuse me, 5th, root note, 6th, and then root note, 6th, 5th, 3rd. But see that it's like the two halves kind of talk to each other, and if you hear that with the vocal, you see how it all fits together really well. So for the sound on this one, it's made with analog. We've got 2 saw waves, detuned a little bit, low pass with an envelope, a bit of vibrato, unison, and the glide is nice with this. Bit of delay, reverb, sidechain, and then high pass. You really don't use too much like compression or saturation with this style. If you notice, all these synths, we're just keeping them really clean and powerful. Then we have this one. So this is another one of those things where it's like call and response, the two sections talking to each other. This we're using the 9th, root note, 3rd, 6th, 5th, 9th, 3rd again. So again, it's kind of like the same voices across all of these, just slightly different. And these also kind of talk to each other. Like it all fits together really well. This is Wavetable. We got this VOSM formant. You can see we got an LFO on that. So you get this cool morphing synth. We got a phase sync, unison, a little bit of delay, a little bit of overdrive on this one. It sounds good with the wavetable, and then sidechain and a high pass. Then we got this one. So this is using those same voices that we've been using a lot. Like I was just talking about this, the 5th, the root note, the 6th, 3rd. This uses a 7th, which you may remember that from the bass. It's kind of following like where that's going. Right, but yeah, it's all those same voices that we've been using, just kind of like a different rhythm with it. And so what we're doing here is we're making the stabby synth with analog. It's 2 saw waves, detuned a little. And what I have here is I have these 2 envelope midis, and what we're adding those to is the sync here, because you can't really put an envelope on that inside of analog. But with these MIDI envelopes, you can see I'm able to have the ratio be modulated on both of these. So we've got that, then we have a low pass with an envelope as well. If I turn off these envelopes, you can hear. See, it's a lot flatter. This gives it that cool stabby texture. Then we got a bit of vibrato. We're distorting it, which sounds really good with these like sync kind of sounds, like the sync saw waves. A little bit of delay, sidechain, and then a high pass. Then the last synth we have here is this pad. So this is kind of playing its own chord progression, but if you look, it's actually following the root note, but it's kind of like interesting inversions. Like this is just a basic G sharp minor chord. It's literally root note, third, fifth, right? Like a basic triad, but then I'm putting the root note up top. So you're getting that same chord and it fits really well with the bass, but it's like somehow a little bit different. And then same thing here, like we're using this like this is following what the bass is doing, where it's doing this minor seventh, minor seventh there. But then it's playing the ninth and the fifth. So it's like these inversions that play well off the bass line, and it's kind of like a chord melody. For the sound, what we're doing here is, I'll turn off the trance gate, it's this pad. So it's made with wavetable. We have the sines 4, and we also have a sine wave, which is actually up an octave and a fifth. That. But it's just kind of in there quietly. Amp envelope like that. A bunch of noise unison, right? And then we're distorting it a tiny bit to just give it a bit more like mid-range grit. And then we have the trance gate. So what I'm doing here is we're side chaining with a gate. I have this operator down here, which is literally just white noise. Playing this pattern, you can see it's just like a half note repeated over and over. It's just literally white noise with like a very short release. And then we're gating this and we're side chaining it. And then you turn the return down, turn the release down, turn the floor and the attack all the way down, and then you just use the threshold. And there you go. Then we just have a little bit of reverb, sidechain, and then a high pass filter. And that's going to be it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed. As always, make sure to like this video as well as subscribe. And let me know what you think of this video in the comments. Like I said in the beginning, you can get this full project file, samples, MIDI, presets, everything from this video is available at the top of the description on my website. Thanks for the support, everybody. Every little bit helps. I will see you tomorrow with another video.